Hey there, welcome back. If you're new to my channel, my name is Katie and this is Louisiana Cooking and Living. And I'm so excited today, and I say that all the time because I am excited about food all the time, that we are making seafood gumbo today. This is something we do traditionally either for Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve, and this time we are doing it for Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow. Gumbo is always better if you make it the day ahead of time or two and let it sit and all those flavors marry together. So we're going to get started today making our seafood gumbo. The last time I made something seafood with you guys was my seafood pot pie, and that was amazing. And so I'm excited about having the seafood gumbo because that's been about 2 months ago now. And if you didn't catch that video, I'll leave it up in the cards above because that was so good and you're going to want to check that out. So let me just show you our seafood gumbo. I don't know if you can really see all of our yummy. Let me get my spoon. It's so hot, but look at all of our yummy crab and shrimp. And you can always put oysters in here if you want oysters. My dad always liked oysters, so my mom always put oysters in the gumbo that she made. But I did not put oysters in there today. But if you'd like oysters, go ahead and add them. So let's go ahead and get started making our gumbo. All right, the start to any good gumbo is going to be a good roux. And I'm starting with about 3/4 of a cup of oil. I'm using just regular olive oil, not extra virgin. I don't want the flavor of the extra virgin olive oil. But you could use whatever kind of vegetable oil you want. You could use avocado oil, regular vegetable oil. You just want something that's light tasting. And we're going to add about a cup of flour to this. And I have my heat over medium-low. Roux does take a good amount of time to cook. Actually, I'm going to go about 1.5 cups of flour with that much oil. Typically, it's equal parts oil and flour, but I do less oil just because I don't want it to be as greasy. So this is going to take at least 30 minutes to cook. We want it to get to a little bit darker than peanut butter color. So you're just going to want to stir this until we get to that color. So we're just going to come back when it's ready. I have made gumbo a few times in the past for you guys, and I've made different roux, and there's different videos where I've shown like a time lapse of the whole process of cooking this down. So I will leave those linked in the cards above, but for this video, we are just gonna skip forward to when our roux is ready. All right, so here is our roux. Got a little hot. It's a little bit darker than I typically like a roux, just because I'm not a dark roux fan, but a lot of people love the darker roux, but this is okay. This is about what I want to go for. And now I like to buy this, if I don't have my own onions and bell pepper chopped in the freezer, this has my onions, celery, and bell peppers already chopped up for me. So I'm going to add, this is a 2.5 or 1.5 pound bag, and I'm adding about all of it. So this is onion, celery, and bell pepper, or some people like to call it the trinity. You can certainly chop your own, but when I have this in the freezer, I like to use this. So that roux is really hot. It's not going to take any time to cook these veggies till they're soft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to crush a bunch of garlic. I'm not a fan of the garlic because I'm not sure the liquid it's sitting in. But I like to buy in Costco and Sam's. They both have 3-pound bags of garlic cloves that are already peeled. Costco's are organic. I'm not sure about Sam's. And that's what I like to buy. And so I have fresh garlic ready to go. And when it's coming to the end of the bag, I throw it in a food processor and then freeze it in the freezer, obviously. And so I can have fresh garlic whenever it's just frozen. And then also run it through the freeze dryer and I can make garlic salt with it. So that was 9 cloves of garlic, I think. We're going to go with 4 more. So we're going to go 13 cloves of garlic. I just got a lot of garlic out and ready to go because I'm going to make some garlic bread to go with this. I'm also making on the side here, I've cooked some sausage here. This is going to be a seafood gumbo we're making today for this video. But I'm also making chicken and sausage gumbo because this is what we're having for Christmas Eve. I like to make this either for Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve. And this year we're having it for Christmas Eve. So I'm making 2 pots of gumbo side by side here. But I think I've already said I've made the chicken and sausage gumbo for you a few times, and I'll leave those linked in the cards above. And I'll also leave my soup playlist at the end of the video so that you can check out whichever ones you want to see. All right, so this is our seafood gumbo on this side. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add shrimp stock to this. If you don't have shrimp stock or seafood stock, which you can buy that at the store, you can certainly use chicken stock to this. And I want to show you, I made this and canned it, the shrimp stock. You can see all the protein that settles out from the shrimp stock. But if you don't like to can, or you're afraid to, these have to be pressure canned. If you're afraid to pressure can, I've also done, where I didn't want to pressure can, I didn't have the time to actually do that, is I get these deli containers from Amazon. I can leave them linked in the description box. And I put this in the freezer. So this is actually half frozen. It hadn't thawed all the way. So you can also freeze your stock if you want to do that. You just have to think about it ahead of time to take it out. Or I guess you could put it in the microwave to melt it. So we're going to add our stock in here now. So I think our veggies have cooked down. And I'm fine with how much they've cooked down, because they're going to keep cooking as this gumbo simmers. Love to hear that sound when I open my canned goods. All right, we're going to pour this one in. And we're going to let this simmer for a while before we actually add our shrimp and our crab meat to it, because you don't want to overcook those. So I'm adding about 2.5 quarts, almost 3 quarts of shrimp stock to this. I think I'm going to do about another 1/2 quart and rinse out these jars. All right, so to this I'm going to add my Cajun seasoning. I do have it linked in my Etsy page down below in the description box if you wanted to check it out. I do not use any, what do you call them, non-caking agents in my Cajun seasoning. And there's also a low salt content in here, so you can actually adjust how salty you want your Cajun seasoning or your food to be. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this come up to a boil. This is not quite thawed all the way, but I'm going to let this come to a boil, and then we're going to let this simmer for about an hour is what I'm going to let it simmer for before we start adding our seafood into it and tasting it. So we'll be back when this has simmered for about an hour. been simmering for a good little while here. Give this a stir so you can kind of see where we're at. I did end up adding another quart of water to this. So I think we have 4 quarts total. And then over here in my other pot, I do have my chicken and sausage gumbo going. All right, so we're gonna add our shrimp now. I got these wild caught Gulf shrimp. Wild caught is best, Louisiana is best. Get what you can get. These were in the freezer section of my local grocery store. This is 2 pounds. And what I went on and did was, these are pretty big shrimp, and I thought that was too big to go on a spoon, so I cut them in half. And I just went through and cut all these in half. So we're gonna put these in here now. And these were, like I said, 2 pounds. And these will give off a lot of water also. Turn my fire up to about a medium. Give these a stir. And we'll let these cook for about 20 minutes, depending on how hot your fire is, of course. So we're gonna let these go. As you just saw, we have our little French toast baguette crostinis in the oven, because I love dipping those into my gumbo. Garlic butter on it, so yummy. So we're gonna get these cooked, and then we will add our crab meat to it. We don't want our crab meat to really fall apart. So we'll be back when it's time to add our crab meat in. All right, we've been simmering for a little while, and now it's time to add our crab meat in. I'm so excited. This is Louisiana blue crab meat. This is the lump crab meat. You can get claw crab meat, or you can get lump crab meat. This is the lump, and it's actually cheaper than the claw crab meat, but the claw crab meat is the best. It's a little sweeter. It is so good. But we're going with the lump. So what I like to do with clean hands is I like to kind of go through this, because this is hand picked and there could be some little pieces of shell that end up in it. So I like to just go through. I don't want to break it up a lot. I just look at it and make sure I don't have any shell in here that I can. And I'm using 1.5 pounds of crab meat. This was a 1/2 pound. I have another container. There's a little piece of shell right there. There's nothing like biting into a piece of shell. So I'm gonna get all this done, and then we'll let this kind of come back to temperature, give it like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna taste test this, because our bread is ready also. Piece of shell right here on top. I do like to buy this. It freezes very well, and put it in the freezer when it's on sale. So this pound container I had bought a couple of months ago and put it in the freezer, anticipating making gumbo this week. And then it was on sale again, so I bought some more. All right, let me get through this, and then we will taste test this. All right, our bread is out of the oven. I've got some rice made. Our gumbo has been simmering, and we're gonna serve some up. I'm so excited. All right, let's go taste test this. All right, let's taste test this gumbo. I'm so excited. I don't know if you know that yet. It's gonna be so hot. I'm gonna make sure I get some crab and shrimp on my bite, because what other way would you eat this, right? Ooh, it's dripping. Good thing it was over the counter. I'll hold a piece of bread under it in case I drip. That is so good, y'all. Add that Cajun seasoning to it to your liking, because we may like it spicier than you do. It's so good. Try a bite of this bread dipped in here. It has a little piece of crab on there, which is a little bonus prize right there. If you cook that bread on 350 just till it toasts, it holds up and has a little bit of crunch even though you're dipping it in your gumbo. It is so good, y'all. Let me get a sip of water real quick. Kind of hot. Put your comfy clothes on, get to making some gumbo, and have a good New Year's. And if you haven't checked out my other chicken and sausage gumbo, like I told you, I was making a chicken and sausage gumbo here and my seafood gumbo here. I will leave my soup playlist at the end of this. You can catch my playlist over here. If you haven't subscribed already, my little logo will be over here, and you can subscribe very easily that way and follow along in this new year. And all the goodies we're going to be cooking, all the things around Louisiana we'll be doing, the garden, the chickens, and I hope you have a happy new year. See you next time.